Astronomer is back. Astronomer had Ramp on the website. Apparently, Ramp's a happy customer.
Never lost faith.
Never lost faith, yeah. So Astronomer, if you weren't following, if you were living under a rock, Apache Airflow as a service, managed enterprise SaaS platform on top of Apache Airflow for data analytics, streaming data, that type of stuff. And they had an absolutely chaotic week last week with their CEO being caught at a Coldplay concert. Was that last week or the week before?
I think it was
Might have been the week before.
The week before.
But
had to have been.
The CEO was caught having an affair at a Coldplay concert. Chris
Yep.
Martin called him out on stage and said, "Oh, those people look like they're having an affair."
Did he actually say that live?
He did say that on the video.
No
so
way.
they're panning
never heard
around
the
to the
sound.
different kiss cams or different just cameras, and they spot the CEO of Astronomer hugging the head of HR.
Yep.
Can't even hug your employees anymore, apparently.
Can't even give your chief people officer a hug in this country anymore.
And,
at a romantic
and
concert.
once they see themselves on the screen at the show, they recoil in horror and turn around. And the other person in HR who's sitting next to them is like, "Oh my God, what's going on?"
Well, that's what I didn't understand. Was that actually?
Apparently, people went and dug it up and found out that she works there too.
I thought that was people just saying, "Hey, this person looks like this person."
Oh, I don't know.
It seems wild that the HR department was hitting the concert with the CEO.
It was like maybe it was an open secret. I don't know.
Yeah,
Open
yeah,
secret.
yeah,
Anyway,
that's possible.
it did not. It was not good for Astronomer.
Yep.
We were discussing this. Lulu was saying the CEO's got to go because he's a hired gun, not a founder, and it just displays very bad character and it reflects poorly on the company. We were kind of going back and forth on this like about the idea of like, okay, yeah, like the CEO did something bad in his personal life, but like, do you really want to find an alternative to your managed Apache Airflow service? Like, it's kind of a hassle to rip that out if you're happy with the product.
And to be clear, we said that
the
company
problem
would be fine. They did need a new CEO
Yes.
immediately. And the founder, I believe his name is Pete,
Yes.
Stepped up within days.
Yes.
Pete DeJoy.
Oh, wait, so founder's back in the CEO slot?
Back in the
Let's
seat.
go.
That's a real bull
Hit
case
the
for Astronomer.
soundboard for the Ashton Hall sound effect. I want to hear some good news. Let's
Astronomer
go.
is now founder mode, everybody.
Astronomer is totally in founder mode.
They were already delivering the world's data,
Yes.
and now they're in founder mode.
They're in founder mode. I think they're
hard not
unstoppable.
to be
I'm excited.
bullish.
Another $1 billion for Bain Capital. Let's hear it for Bain Capital. They don't get
And
enough
Index.
credit.
And
Index
Index.
even? Nice. I didn't know that. Anyway,
Credit.
so.
And I emailed briefly with Pete DeJoy,
Yeah.
and he said he's a fan of the show.
Amazing.
So, we're hoping to
Yeah.
get him on. We don't want to actually talk about any of this
No,
stuff.
I'm
we just want to
over
talk
it.
about
I want to talk
Apache
about
Airflow.
Apache Airflow. I'm so into Apache Airflow now. I'm so ready.
But anyways, so late Friday night, Astronomer
Clearly,
launched a
they
video.
didn't want us to react
Let's
to
pull
this
up.
on stream, so they put it up after we logged off.
Let's pull up the video.
I want to watch the full thing.
Thank you for your interest in Astronomer. Hi, I'm GWYNETH Paltrow. I've been hired on a very temporary basis to speak on behalf of the 300-plus employees at Astronomer. Astronomer has gotten
300,
a lot
wow.
of questions
Big
over
company.
the last few days,
Series
and
B,
they wanted
right?
me to answer the most common ones. Yes, Astronomer is the best place to run Apache Airflow, unifying the experience of running data, ML, and AI pipelines
Genius.
at scale. We've been thrilled so many people have a newfound interest in data workflow automation. As for the other questions we've received, yes, there is still room available at our Beyond Analytics event in September. We will now be returning
And
to
you know,
what we do
so you
best,
know
How
that
many-
delivering
Gwyneth
game-changing results
is
for
Chris
our
Martin's
customers.
ex-wife,
Yes.
Thank you for your
which
interest
makes
in
the
Astronomer.
entire thing.
It's very funny. It's not really like it's not like getting back at Chris Martin in any sort of weird way. It's just funny that it's like another voice from that universe. Really.
Yeah, so they remain close friends
Okay.
and co-parents.
Okay,
So
okay.
in so many ways, like she's like the best spokesperson for this because. Anyways,
Remarkable how quickly they shot that. You know, they had to probably like a conference room near her office or like her house or something like that.
Yeah, it's a
And they were
perfect
like,
response.
We
You
will,
don't need
it's
somebody
1
from
minute,
Astronomer there at all.
6 lines. It's really,
It
really
ties
quick.
into the story. It made sense. It wasn't just some random celebrity.
Nope.
It had some
Yeah.
funny tie-in.
Yep.
And I think it was incredibly well done. Lulu broke it down. She said, laughing at themselves was the right move because humor does 4 crucial things. Connects with a new audience. Even for people who don't care about Apache Airflow, being in on the joke together forms a connection with Astronomer. Diffuse tension by joining the ridicule, they're no longer its subject or its object. Get closure, they said it out loud, the joke is tapped, everyone can move on.
Yep.
Signal a fresh start, the CEO and HR lady are gone. It's a new management team, and making light of this shows they've consciously uncoupled from the past. So great,
I love it.
Great breakdown.
Very well written, Lulu. The third point is so funny because there's a little bit about like nothing will kill a joke. Like independent of all the crazy Astronomer, Chris Martin, Coldplay thing, there's nothing that will kill a joke faster than a Series D enterprise SaaS company making the joke. And so if they're jumping in on the joke, it's like, well, we wanted to kill the joke. We wanted the joke to stop.
Yep.
And so we jumped in, we're playing along, and we got literally the last laugh. Like if anyone tried to post something about Astronomer, CEO, Coldplay, like they would immediately be, everyone would be like, yeah, we've moved on.
The real question is the IPO windows open? Should they go public right now?
Become a meme stock?
And actually have Gwyneth step in like kind of like chairman type role, really expand the role, not just kind of crisis comms.
They need a treasury.
They do.
But they need something that speaks to the history of the company. They need to buy some funny asset to put on the balance sheet. I was thinking about we've moved on from Bitcoin treasuries to like the further out risk curve ones.
Well, there's all the Ethereum treasuries.
The GameStop treasury, which is hilarious. I think the next generation is just straight up lottery ticket treasury. just scratchers.
I thought you were going to say like they should put some like match group on the balance sheet.
They should. That would be good. That would be more like tied to this. And I think that makes sense for Astronomer. Get a bunch of match group.
Get
a bunch of match group stock on your balance sheet.
By the way, we're
or like Eventbrite maybe, or who runs like the Coldplay concerts? It's like didn't Taylor Swift like sue them? Ticketmaster. Get some Ticketmaster stock on the balance sheet. Who knows? That would tie into the lore a little bit.
Like the values of the company.
Exactly.
And also some potential upside.
What was that? There was that biotherapy company that was saying like we're fighting financial fraud by buying GameStop stock or something like that, or financial inefficiencies. But get some
market manipulation.
Get some scratchers on the balance sheet for sure. Get some lottery tickets. Everyone's like, they have $50,000 in lottery tickets, but if it hits, this could be $500 million on the balance sheet.
Yeah, it is such I think a year from now we'll look back and say like they found a way to actually turn this into a win.
Oh yeah,
right?
Totally.
Now some people, if this is maybe some of the best crisis comms work we've seen in this decade.
For sure.
But I think if you now have millions of people that like think your company is kind of like cool and funny,
and they're aware of it. They're aware of it,
and it would have cost them. It would have cost them. I'm sure this Gwyneth video cost millions of dollars. Yeah. I think it probably would have cost them to try to build that type of brand recognition. Otherwise, like just traditionally. Would have cost multiples of that.
I only have one note on the video. I mean, Autism Capital here says you have to give credit where credit is due. This is 10 out of 10 PR recovery. I think it loses 1 point because it was hard posted and not restreamed. One live stream, 30 destinations, multi-stream and reach your audience wherever they are. They should have restreamed it. Anyway.
Good
fantastic comeback. Lulu says next move is for an Astronomer competitor to hire Chris Martin to do a video on how their product is the best at helping you gain visibility in any environment and keep your private networking secure. And somebody in the comments says the chain is going to end with Brad Pitt.
This is the thing. I don't even know who Astronomer's competitors are.
I don't know who their competitors are, but I don't know. Maybe they should.
That's why this is a win for Astronomer.
It's a huge win for Astronomer. And yeah, I mean, also interesting because this kind of plays into what we were talking about with Paul from BrowserBase, this idea of like Apache Airflow is open source. You would expect that managed airflow would be something that's, totally in AWS's wheelhouse, and yet they were able to scale to a Series D company, 300 employees, like clearly doing well, and now they have this like breakout moment, and they still are probably facing fierce competition from the hyperscalers, but and from the big cloud platforms, but they just don't.
It's so the timing of this is so insane. Bain led the Series D. It was announced on May 1st.
Let's go.
So,
love it.
just very recently here. I mean, they've been putting up some incredible numbers.
Let's get Mitt Romney on the show. Have him talk about
the last fiscal year, Astronomer saw 150% year-over-year ARR growth, in world-class 130% net revenue retention, and 90% product utilization with customers. So,
let's hear it.
I mean, I think they're going to have a massive end to the year.
Speaking of high NPS products, let's tell you about Figma.com. Think bigger, build faster. Figma helps design and development teams build great products together. You can get started for free at Figma.com.
And we will be in the great city of New York this week for the Figma IPO.
We will be.
We will be live from NYSE, the New York Stock Exchange, on Thursday.
Yeah. That's what the cool kids call it, NYSE.
NYSE.
I always just call it NYSE, or like the New York Stock Exchange. But
Yeah.
when you're saying it every other word, because you're in that world, because you're
When
doing
you're big in that
deals,
world.
when you're big in that world, you don't have time.
When you're taking companies public like every other week.
Yeah, exactly. You got to use the slang. What the cool kids use. Okay, bull or bear case for Figma. I go to Figma Make and I tell it, build me a collaborative design tool.
Don't make mistakes.
Don't make mistakes. Recursive, the snake eating its tail. You use Figma to make Figma, then you don't need Figma anymore. Is that a bear case? What's going on here?
Well, I think
it'd be so powerful.
You're basically still paying Figma to host.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so they get you to host it. Okay, that's how they get you locked in.
You're paying.
That's how they get you locked in.
You're paying one way or another.
Yeah, I like that though. It's an existential risk for all these platforms that allow you to build software vibe code.
Well, that's why every SaaS
First
company.
thing I want to vibe code is a vibe coding platform.
Well, yeah, that's why every SaaS company has to have a vibe coding product now.
Yes. So you can vibe code the product itself.
Yeah.
Yes, the tautological vibe code.
No, that is, I mean, so the question people have been saying, like, okay, at some point in the future, you'll be able to one-shot products.
Yep.
And I would say I have really strong conviction that in the next few years, you'll be able to one-shot a design tool.
Yep.
Will you be able to one-shot a design tool that works in the enterprise, that has like
that people
when you think like
with.
Figma has been like shipping features every single day
Yep.
for a decade now.
Yep.
And even if you knew exactly which features mattered and how they all work together, it would be very difficult to create a one-to-one clone.
And then also there's the network of if you hire a designer and you're like, hey,
I need you to use my
vibe coded Figma knockoff that I vibe coded in
Can you
Figma?
just pay
can we just use
$20
Figma?
a month?
Yeah, for sure. So the ecosystem is very, very important, and also
and there's a whole app ecosystem.
Exactly.
It makes me, it definitely makes me more bullish on companies that have these like developer app ecosystems. I mean, Shopify is the same way.
Yeah.
You could one shot like an e-commerce storefront product, but are you then going to one shot the downstream?
I mean, as soon as LLMs were writing code and we were talking about like AGI takeoff and super intelligence, I had this like running thought about, okay, so at a certain point, you can go to an LLM or a vibe coding platform and say like, build me an e-commerce website. And it will just say like, okay, setting up Shopify. But in the far, far future, it could just say, okay, applying for a banking license, applying for a money transfer license. I'm going to rebuild Stripe. I'm going to rebuild Shopify. I'm going to rebuild a database from first principles. I'm going to use just raw
Actually,
C++
just going to make a data
everything.
center.
I'm going to build a data center.
If I want to build an internet company, I should have at least one data center.
And it all just does that in one prompt.
Yeah.
Because one prompt fires off. I mean, how many man hours have gone into building Stripe or building any of these companies? It's like, tens of thousands of employees for most of them for, decades. You add all that together. But if the LLM can do that, and if the AI system can do that in the data center in just a few minutes, in hyper compression, who knows, maybe. Logan Bartlett has another take on the Astronomer video. He says, the Astronomer video is great on its own, but I'm even more impressed that the leadership team and the board were able to come to consensus to make this investment and take this risk absent the CEO they've had for the last 2 years. I can't imagine everyone was on board with this initially. So major kudos to everyone getting there eventually and taking this chance. This bodes well for their future IMO. And I agree. Even with Gwyneth Paltrow, it feels so funny, but like there's this idea of like, let's put out not a standard legal statement it feels risky. And it's so easy for someone to step up and say, hey, like, let's not take this risk. It's not worth it.
Well, they put out the quick statement that Pete was stepping back into the
Yeah, they had put out a
CEO
few statements, but clearly something was clicking
The question
on the
is,
board and the executive team.
what should Andy Byron, the CEO, having the affair?
I mean, that's the best part about this video is that it doesn't take shots at him.
Yeah,
it doesn't punch down. It doesn't make it like, it doesn't drag that in. It doesn't make it more complicated. And a lot of times when CEOs do get pushed out, there's like lawsuits about comp and was it fair to release people, and so there's like all these things that can come back. Like if you are, especially if you're a founder and you're going back into a company where you've hired a CEO, you should probably not be talking about that CEO, because if you come out and say they were not good and that's why I had to step back in, then that could hurt their career prospects, and then they could sue you for defamation or something like that. So there's a lot of risk to anything around that. All the corporate comms, like it is like the lawyers are like annoying, but like they do make a good point that like there is financial impact if you get it wrong. So very, very good. Wow. And then Stay SA says, I think we're going to find out that Chris Martin felt bad, asked Gwyneth Paltrow to help out, and they gave Astronomer an offer to do damage control. My guess is that this is entertainment industry magic happening, not data tech magic. Logan says,
Chris Martin wants CEOs who are having affairs to feel welcome at his romantic concerts. He's like, this could be really bad for business. This could be bad for ticket sales. I have to go into damage control.
I don't think Chris Martin's behind this. This is a ridiculous theory about this stay sassy or whatever. Logan says totally possible.
No, I do. I think there could be some. I think there could be something here. I mean,
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Like, why he feels bad that this just happened at his show?
Chris Martin has the data. He might be like 10% of people at my concerts are having affairs.
You think he's storing it in Apache Airflow?
Or maybe he just really
all
cares
of his ticket sales are going through Apache Airflow, and he's monitoring it using Astronomer. He's just like, no, my bags. I love this company. He's like actually accidentally an investor as well through some fund. Maybe he's Bain Capital LP. Who knows? He might be at that level.
He might be heavily Anchor GP.
Anchor LP in Index.
In
maybe.
Bain and Index.
And to close out, Lulu said, for everyone asking me, this wasn't me. I do not work with Astronomer, but I think it was very well done. Kudos to their team. And it says a lot about Lulu's brand that whenever good PR happens, people are like, Lulu has to be behind this. It can only be her. It can't possibly
scream Lulu.
It did scream Lulu.
I didn't ask her because I didn't want to know, because I just like, you know,
like the mystery.
I like the mystery of it.
Yeah.
I feel like if I knew, I should probably say something. You know.
Yeah. Anyway, let's shift gears. Let's tell you about Vanta. Automate compliance, manage risk, improve trust continuously. Vanta's trust management platform takes the manual work out of your security and compliance process and replaces it with continuous automation, whether you're pursuing your first framework or managing a complex program.
Cheers to Vanta.
In the other side of PR statements, the T-app hack is an absolute disaster. This is
and their statement was a disaster.
Their statement was a disaster. It does not seem that they're handling it well.
Somebody just informed me,
please,
a friend of the show, that it was Ryan Reynolds' agency that pulled it off.
No way.
Which
that
makes total sense.
Yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
The bridge
goat.
between
tech,
Hollywood and tech.
Oh, he's master of his craft. And I feel like he's done a number of those like solo direct-to-camera
so it was actually
shoots.
reported. So there's an article.
Okay, cool.
Ryan Reynolds' maximum effort ad agency turned Astronomer's viral moment into marketing gold.
Wow.
The production company was involved with the latest Astronomer video featuring Gwyneth Paltrow. The ad is being hailed as a masterclass in crisis PR.
I agree.
Astronomer, Fortune is saying Astronomer got the last laugh.
They did. They really did.
Releasing it late on a Friday, too, is great. Shutting down the work week.
Well, you don't want AWS to trade down too heavily on the news. You know, if you release that during market hours, it could be turmoil. Could trigger an entire market sell-off. And last week, we had 5 back-to-back all-time highs in the S&P 500. That's why we're wearing white suits.
And we're wearing white suits because we have peace with Europe.
Peace with Europe.